Today we're going to look at Naud as pressure, and Naud in general. This is a rune that many people think is difficult. Thing is, if you do your work, and work with this logically, take your time, this rune can be very useful. It is a difficult rune, because these runes run close to our emotions, our physical selves, and are found throughout. They can be, because with Naud, we talk of pressure. This rune can be depressing. It can compress. It can press, repress, and suppress. That's part of the danger we're talking about now. Naud, for instance, you talk of poverty as being oppressive. And it is. And that's Naud at work, because not only does it deprive you of things, it also puts pressure in other aspects of your life. Your financial situation, your environmental situation, everything feels like it's under a compress. It's limited. And that's what pressure does. This kind of pressing, it limits you, it restricts, it inhibits. And that's the difficult part of Naud. It inhibits. The same downward pressure used by a boa constrictor to restrict, to constrict, to constrain, compress, and kill. Naud can be dangerous. I think of when they taught us hand-to-hand combat. And one trick I really got good with was the figure 4 strangle, also known as a Japanese strangle, where it's Naud pressure and you're applying it to the enemy's head and increasing the pressure on his windpipe and on his carotid and jugular vein. It's a very nasty strangle. Choking is pressure like this, and jiu-jitsu type arm locks and holds, wrestling holds, that restrain or put strain on the body are again this downward phase of Naud. That's pressure. We've looked at the dire side, and I'm sure you can think of dire things too. Well, let's look at another side of Naud. If you've been cut, they put a suture on it. And what a suture does is pulls the two sides of skin together, using Naud pressure to hold them together so they can heal. When they wrap a bandage around you, that is Naud pressure. And if you've been wounded, they tell you, put pressure on it. That is pressure to save your life. Okay. Any kind of, and also even a restraint can save a life. When I was a substance abuse counselor, I remember I had to, someone who had a relapse and got back to the drugs went crazy and ended up in a psych ward, and the nurse had called and I went up to talk to her. And by the time I got there, it was a half hour, she had gotten even worse, to the point that she was violent and self-destructive. And so what they had used to stop this was a very Naud technique. I got up there, they brought me into a room where they had her in what they call restraints. And she was pinned down to the bed, and there were cuffs on her wrists and ankles. And the way they were tied was in such a way that she could not get at herself, and she could not get at anyone else. And when you see something like that, it's scary. What are you chaining her up for like that? Well, there were no chains. These were soft restraints. But the fact is, she was so out of control that she had to be restrained not only to prevent harm to others, but harm to herself. Because that's what people sometimes in a psychotic outburst will do. So this is a very bizarre but very necessary application of Naud to protect life rather than to harm. I mean, we do know other kinds of restraint are used. The police use it to restrain a prisoner. Again, to suppress and to limit. Now let's look at a little more of the fun side of Naud, because we've looked at all this, and I mean, right now you're probably saying, this is dire as hell. Let's think of the fun side and let's make it personal. I want to start with the guys. Guys, remember when you were young and you might have a girlfriend, a new girlfriend who wasn't too experienced. So the first time you're there naked playing around, and she gets excited and she's exuberant and she reaches down and is going to play with the package, and she gets to your nuts, but she's excited and squeezes a little too hard and you almost jump off the end of the bed. That's a Naud experience. Ladies, you're not exempt, especially those of you who are, as we might say, stacked. And here you are ready to have some fun with your husband or significant others, and maybe one or both of you are a little drunk or high and a little exuberant, and he comes in like that, and squeezes way too hard. There's your Naud experience. And of course, guys, one that I like to bring up, this always gets a smile. It's exasperating. Something that guys can do for a woman that's very pleasurable or very special, and you're in the middle of doing it, and maybe the woman's not too used to having that level of pressure that way, and she gets excited and pulls your head in tighter, and you feel like you can't breathe. Again, a Naud experience. Or just while having sex, normally, and the woman wraps her legs around, and not too tight, but just enough. And that's a pleasurable side of Naud. See, Naud doesn't always have to be wild, risque. It can be very pleasurable. Like all runes, and I use these examples because like all runes, Naud is really neither good nor bad. It's all in how you use it. The same constricting that can strangle can also prevent someone from bleeding out in an injury. The same pressure that keeps something down can also keep something from harming itself. As with any other rune, Naud can hurt, Naud can heal, Naud can take life, Naud can preserve life. The only warning I give when studying this rune is watch your mental state, especially early on. If you're feeling depressed, down, gloomy, leave it alone until your mood changes, because those moods are a Naud type mood running close to the emotions, and it can put you in a real funk if you're not ready for it. So wait till your mood changes when you work with that. Remember that these runes work within you, your emotions in your body, around you, like the old exercise. Try Naud. Put your finger there, squeeze as hard as you can, and you feel the pressure of Naud, and if the tip of your finger feels like it's going to pop, that's a Naud thing too. It's close to you, but it's also around you. It's as far as, it can go as far away as galaxies away, where an object approaching the event horizon of a black hole is subjected to tremendous pressure. So it happens within us right up to the galactic level. With this rune, take your time and be patient. Watch your mood when you're studying it, because when you get used to this rune, this can be a real asset to you. It can give you a lot of knowledge and insight, and it's a useful rune. Again, a bit difficult, but not to be feared. Don't worry about it. You just go in and work at it. You'll appreciate the results. I wish you luck in your studies. Keep at it. But one other thing. When you tie that knot to tie your shoelaces, or tie that knot to seal a package, guess what? That's Naud pressure too. It's as simple as that. Good luck with your studies and have a good one. This is Uncle Thor from the Trollwise Press, signing out.